All right, welcome to the show, y'all. I hope everybody out there is having a great day. Prepare yourselves. I'm back. I'm in the driver's seat here, and a lot of bad stuff is happening, to put it simply. So in just a second, U.S. bases are burning to the ground in the Middle East as it appears like a ground invasion is being planned by the Trump regime. We now have chaos erupting and all hell breaking loose, and us and Iran returning fire, and the Gulf countries getting hit as well. And it's basically like there was never a ceasefire. There was never a memorandum of understanding. We are right back to square one, except this time the strategic oil reserve is near the bottom. Okay, so it is as bad as you think it is. It's actually worse than that. Okay, so we'll talk about that. We also have Trump's health continues to collapse as he now has a sixth visit to the doctor. A sixth visit. He's pretending like it was yet another physical, which is not a thing to take a physical in that short of a time frame, clearly lying about that. We also have Khanna being held at gunpoint by psycho Israeli occupiers, seemingly opening his eyes to the depravity of the terrorist rape state known as Israel. And then also later on, we have the truth about Lindsey Graham is finally coming out. It took literally less than 24 hours after he departed this world for some people he engaged in sexual activities with to make their voices known and tell you the truth about who this man is and what he does. So we'll talk about all that and more. You guys know the drill, man. Everybody do me a big favor. Subscribe to the channel. Click that bell icon. That helps out big time and costs you nothing at all. You can also support the show on Patreon. That, of course, is a big help. Remember, this is real independent media, so just giving $2 a month helps a lot. I've never talked to an advertiser or done an ad read. I never will do those things, so thank you to all of you who keep this show going. You can also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. That link is below as well. We're back in action this week. And, of course, everybody go sub to Corin's World. By the way, Corin's birthday is in 2 days on July 15th. Everybody go wish my boy a happy birthday. We will not be back this week. We'll be back next week because Corin is on vacation this week, his birthday week. So everybody go wish my boy a happy birthday. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. We got a lot of stuff to get to. So before I get to the chaos erupting in the Middle East, let me show you this. We just got this word right before we came on air here. A person is dead following an ICE-involved shooting in Biddeford, Maine. We are awaiting more details. So in this moment, we appear to be reaching the point where ICE can't go a day without murdering an innocent person. Let me repeat that. ICE seemingly can't go a day without murdering an innocent person. We talked the other day about another innocent man who was killed driving to work. He's been in this country 35 years, raised 3 kids. They're all, one of them's a teacher. They're all very successful. The guy always preached the value of hard work, never did anything, no criminal record, no nothing. Got murdered on his way to work. Why? Because he has brown skin. Okay, so now we have another ICE-involved shooting. It's a euphemism, of course. The reality is ICE is likely murking an innocent person, right? It's not like the ICE person got shot. At least right now, there's no indication of that whatsoever. But here we go again, bro. Here we go again. And just so you know, now we're up to, I believe, 52 people who've died because of ICE. 52 people who have died because of ICE just in Trump's second term, okay? They're completely and utterly out of control. Abolish ICE is the moderate position. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of these people need to go to prison. It's that simple. They need to go to prison. This is a criminal enterprise. This is a gang. This is not a respectable government agency doing respectable government work. And everybody needs to get that through their head. So just horrible news here. Now, let me show you exactly what's going on in the Middle East because this also is a catastrophe. So let's start with this Sky News report explaining how all hell has broken loose yet again.
This war is at a dangerous inflection point. On Saturday night, another commercial vessel was targeted off the coast of Oman, this time a Cyprus-flagged container ship. The crew evacuated in a lifeboat and one Indian national is missing.
Now, I should point out, every time Iran is targeting a ship passing through the Strait of Hormuz, the reason why they're doing it is because the shipping lane that they're using is in violation of the Memorandum of Understanding, okay? You have mines all throughout the strait. Iran is insisting, both for the safety of the ships, but also because now they control the strait and they can charge fees for the strait, they are insisting you need to use this particular pathway that we've created. Okay, so what happens is the U.S. is saying, no, screw you. we're going to have our ships go whichever way we want to send them, and you can kick rocks. It's basically the U.S. testing the resolve of Iran to enforce the Memorandum of Understanding. And what the U.S. is realizing is they're fucking around and finding out Iran's not playing. When they say, we need you to use this path, they absolutely mean it. And so it's not like they're not warning these ships. They're warning these ships, hey, don't go that way. If you go that way, it's going to be problems. And then they continue, and then they get attacked, okay? But let's not get it twisted. This is the U.S. violating the MOU first, and Iran reacting and trying to uphold it.
In a statement shared on Iranian state television, the Revolutionary Guard said it fired a warning shot after the vessel took what they're calling an unapproved route through the Strait of Hormuz. In response, the US attacked Iran for a third time this week. Central Command releasing images of some of the 140 strikes it says were carried out by order of the president. Iran has now declared the Strait of Hormuz closed, but in an interview with NBC's Meet the Press, Donald Trump says otherwise.
It's open. We bombed the hell out of them last night. They're very, very evil and sick people. We had meetings with them for the last. They agreed to a deal yesterday, a perfect deal for us. No nuclear, no this, no that, no nothing. They gave up everything. And then after that, they left the room. And then within an hour, they launched a drone at a ship.
I know it's like a trite thing to say at this point, but it is truly astonishing just how much and how casually he lies about everything.
I said, you people are sick. You're sick people. And so it's one of those things.
Iran had warned any retaliation would be met with a severe response. And this time, the missiles and drones weren't limited to Bahrain, Kuwait and Jordan, who've borne the brunt in recent days. United Arab Emirates came under attack for the first time in nearly 2 months. Qatar, now playing a key mediation role between both sides, reported incoming fire too, with residents describing blasts that rattled windows across Doha. And Oman, in jarring contrast to regional front pages, reporting their bilateral talks with Iran just the day before, confirmed drone attacks on Omani territory too. Iran's new supreme leader, who's still not been seen in public since succeeding his father, didn't appear at this week's funeral commemorations, but issued a statement vowing Iranians would avenge his death. And that message was inscribed on a missile apparently fired in today's attacks and shared by the Revolutionary Guard. Iran's lead negotiator, Mohammad Khalibaf, posted on X, "The era of one-sided deals is over. We told you, keep your word or pay the price. Reality is knocking." It seems last month's Memorandum of Understanding is being interpreted very differently by both sides. Iran now targeting vessels that bypass its controlled route through the strait, which carried around a fifth of the world's oil before this war and has become the thorn in Donald Trump's side. Nearly halfway into this 60-day negotiation window, it seems nothing substantive has been discussed between both sides. It's unclear now what options the US president has left. At best, diplomacy is back to square one. At worst, this spirals into another wave of all-out fighting.
No, see, that's the thing, though, is perhaps this was the plan all along. The plan was get it back to square one because all the U.S. was really doing with the MOU was buying time. They were buying time to reload and refresh and get ready. And get ready for what, you ask? Well, either trying to take Karg Island or one of the other important Iranian islands or planning some sort of ground invasion. Trump is certainly acting like that's the ultimate goal. That's where he's going to end up. That's what he's going to do anyway. Because if you weren't going to do that, you would be negotiating in good faith. You would be taking Iran seriously. You would actually try to uphold the terms of the Memorandum of Understanding. And simply put, the U.S. is not doing that. Israel is not doing that. I mean, one of the key things in the Memorandum of Understanding is that Israel has to get out of all of Lebanon. They're not doing that at all. They're still occupying literally all of South Lebanon. So if they're not upholding the most basic terms of the MOU, clearly the plan here from the U.S. and Israel, the axis of Epstein, is, oh, we're going to try to ground invade or take Karg Island and, continue the war effectively. And on that exact point, take a look at this. U.S. Special Forces mothership Ocean Trader spotted hiding in plain sight at Oman port. Okay? So I'll click here. You can see it. I know it's blurry, but you can see that is the Special Forces mothership there. And it's showing exactly where it is here, the port of Oman. Now, why is it there? Why is it there? Perhaps because Special Forces will be involved in the next phase of this. This leads me to believe more of taking Karg Island. But we've seen a lot of military plane activity throughout the entire Middle East within the past 3 or 4 weeks. And that would seem to indicate a troop buildup in Iraq and launching a ground invasion from Iraq, which also, I mean, that would be absolutely terrifying because when you talk about a ground invasion, you're talking about massive casualties, okay? And not the kind of casualties that many in the U.S. unfortunately overlook, namely civilian casualties on the other side. No, this is like massive U.S. soldier casualties in a scenario where they actually ground invade. And, I mean, you want to talk about waking the American people up. Now, the fact of the matter is, I think they've been hiding the number of injuries and the number of deaths this entire time. Like, I think it's worse than what they're letting on. But how much can you hide it if we're getting real serious casualties because of a stupid, doomed from the start ground invasion? Just absolutely horrifying thing to really wrap your mind around. All right. Daily Mail says, new front opens in Iran war as U.S. is dragged into crisis phase and oil prices rocket. Now, the only thing I'll take issue with here is the phrase dragged into. The U.S. isn't being dragged into anything. It is actively making the decision to continue the illegal war of aggression. It is on the U.S. We have agency, and what we're doing is fucked up. But oil prices are skyrocketing, and like I told you, we're down to nearly the bottom of the strategic petroleum reserve. And in a scenario like that, bro, again, I don't think people understand. I don't think people understand. We're talking about $6 a gallon gasoline, $7 a gallon gasoline, maybe more than that. We're talking about gas prices skyrocketing. We're talking about grocery prices skyrocketing. We're talking about rationing. It is going to be, I don't think people are prepared for what's to come if we continue on this course. And I think Trump and the Secretary of War Crimes, Pete Kegsbreath, I think they're stupid enough to think, well, we're just going to ultimately take Karg Island and control Iranian oil and we'll be good. Like, no, you idiots. Is it not clear that this is not going to be like the Venezuela operation yet? Do you not understand you're up against a formidable opponent who has strong backing from both China and Russia as well? Do you not understand that they're smarter than you and they've been planning for this for fucking decades? Donald Trump was trying to fuck Stormy Daniels at a golf event when Iran was planning for this. Like, this is how far back this goes. It honestly goes back even further than that. Trump was trying to keep black people out of his apartment buildings when Iran was planning for this years ago. Do you not understand that? Apparently they don't understand that, and they're going to learn the hard way yet again that they're not just going to be able to bully their way out of this. Tonight, the U.S. has attacked water stations, electrical systems, airports, and border checkpoints. This is terrorism. I told you guys the other day that another thing that they attacked was right at the corner of a nuclear power plant. Not nuclear as in, like, they build weapons there. Nuclear as in, like, you know, nuclear power for the power grid. Just psychotic stuff. Absolutely psychotic stuff. And we also get this. Breaking, the Agajari oil and gas airport in Omidyeh, Iran, has been hit by U.S. airstrikes. Almost all cities in Khuzestan province have been struck in the past 3 hours. Okay, breaking, the IRGC announces it will destroy gas and oil infrastructure in the region should the U.S. continue strikes on Iranian infrastructure. So the U.S. is continually hitting Iranian infrastructure, and Iran is saying, you are very close to us destroying, to do a suicide pact with the world and take down the global economy by destroying all of the oil infrastructure in the Gulf Arab countries. We already have an oil shortage. We already have an oil crisis. The Strait of Hormuz is already shut. This would compound that 1,000 times over because it would take decades to rebuild that kind of infrastructure in the first place. So, I mean, to say we are gambling is a massive, massive understatement. Breaking, Iran has begun a large-scale retaliatory strike against U.S. bases throughout the Middle East. Smoke is rising from the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters. All right, take a look at this video. You can see the smoke in the distance there, right here. Okay. Breaking, Saudi Arabia carries out airstrikes against Sana'a International Airport, Houthi-controlled Yemen. Saudi Arabia ends ceasefire with the Houthis. This is a huge deal because now the Houthis are coming out and they're saying, okay, it's on like Donkey Kong, bitch. And not only do they control a strait that's super important for global trade as well, which they can shut down, but also now they can enter on the side of Iran more generally, and they can also start going after Israel. They could also start going after the U.S. They could also start going after all of the Gulf Arab states. To get the Houthis back involved in this is just, again, an astonishing fuck up from a bunch of idiots on the U.S. side of the equation. Okay, breaking. President Trump says the U.S. is reinstating its blockade of the Strait of Hormuz for Iranian ships and customers. Here's what he says. The Hormuz Strait is open and will remain open with or without Iran. We are reinstating the Iranian blockade, so named because it is only stopping Iran ships or customers from entering or leaving. All other countries will have fair and open use of the strait. The USA will be, from this point forward, known as the guardian of the Hormuz Strait. But as such, and as a matter of fairness, will be reimbursed at the rate of 20% on all cargo shipped for any and all costs necessary to do the job of providing safety and security to this very volatile section of the world. The process and formation will begin immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, so first of all, just like dropping the pretense completely and letting everybody know we're a mafia, we're a mob country, because he's saying, I'm going to protect you. Protect you from who? From us bombing you. That's basically what this is. But demanding a 20% tax, that is way above and beyond what Iran and Oman were going to ask, because they now actually control the Strait of Hormuz. They were going to ask for way less than that. Slapping a 20% tax on all the oil going through the Strait of Hormuz would only exacerbate the fucking oil crisis, which would, in turn, of course, hurt the U.S. and hurt the global economy and lead to a crash faster. I'm sorry, man. The man is completely and utterly unfit for this position. Like, I don't think you really understand how stupid this thing he says here is. Do you? Do you get this? How stupid this is? Also, needless to say, there's no ability or mechanism by which the U.S. can enforce control over the Strait of Hormuz. The guardian of the Hormuz Strait. My ass cheeks, the guardian of the Hormuz Strait. If in fairness, we're going to charge you 20%, what the fuck are you babbling about? By the way, it's all cope and wishful thinking also, because we know the traffic that's been going through the Strait of Hormuz, and it's bupkis. It's non-existent. It's already been shut down, ski. And this is Trump crashing out after Iran reasserts control over the strait, and Trump goes, no, you're not going to control the strait. I'm going to control the strait. I'm going to control the strait, and I'm going to block your ports. That's what's going to happen. All right, so an Iran spokesperson comes out and he says the following. We will not, under any circumstances, allow the United States to interfere in the management of the Strait of Hormuz. Not now, not ever. When I say we're right back to square one, I honestly think that undersells it. I think it's worse than being back at square one. We're at square -1 because the fact of the matter is now the strategic oil reserves are nearly at a minimum. Right? So we don't have any tricks up our sleeves anymore to be able to keep the price of gas reasonably low. And when that happens, again, at some point, the chickens are going to come home to roost. At some point, reality is going to smack us across the face. And the Iranians know this. And so now with the U.S. and Israel yet again violating the MOU, making it clear you can't make a deal with them, the result is going to be global economic catastrophe. And Trump is going to try to salvage this by ordering the taking of Karg Island or some other important Iranian island for their oil infrastructure, or order just a ground invasion. But either way, this is going to be a strategic blunder that makes the Iraq war look like puppies and rainbows, okay? This is going to make Iraq look mild by comparison when all is said and done here. I've called them a baboon regime for a while, and this is the reason why. Like, if you pick some random middle schoolers to make every high-level decision for this country, they would have made better decisions than the Trump regime. And it sounds hyperbolic. I promise you, it's not at all hyperbolic. If you explain in simple terms the facts of geopolitical situations to middle schoolers, that they'll make more reasonable decisions than this. This is like actual insanity. And so here we are. It looks like they're plotting a ground invasion. Looks like the fake ceasefire, the MOU, is completely and utterly dead. We are right back to square one, except now we're on the brink of total economic disaster, and there's nothing any of us can do except sit back and watch the car crash happen in front of us, right? This is like those shows that used to play. Remember Spike TV back in the day, where they would just show like people wiping out on skateboards and cars crashing and planes crashing and shit like that. This is like watching that channel at 4 o'clock in the morning while you're high. You shouldn't be seeing it, but you're seeing it, and it's a disaster, and it's like happening in slow motion, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. It's that, except with the global economy. It's that, except with, the United States standing in the world. He is so in over his head, Donald Trump is. And I honestly think he doesn't even realize it. Honestly, a lot of this is reminding me of COVID, where it was like, deny, downplay, until it got to the point where, oh shit, it's smacking us across the face, and now 1 million people died and the virus is spreading like crazy and we don't have any mitigation efforts in place and we don't know what the fuck we're doing and it's always playing catch up, that's what this is. It's the same thing, except it's like deny, downplay until boom, the crash hits, the economy grinds to a halt, you got to ration gas. I mean, that's what it is. So I don't know, man. I'm always reminded of the story of how Trump, he was the type of person, he would go out there and give a press conference and talk about how one of his businesses is thriving and flourishing and everybody loves it. And he would say that, and then literally a day later, that business would go bankrupt. This is who this man is. He's a natural-born salesman and bullshitter and con man. And so he'll say one thing until the fucking cows come home, until you get smacked in the face with reality. And, you know, people are dumb enough, unfortunately, about 30 to 35% of the country is dumb enough to believe all the nonsense up until, you know, hell washes over us. And so people are going to learn the hard way again, bro. But this is bad. This is really, really, really bad.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
You know, as I've told you 1,000 times, with Donald Trump's cognitive failure, we've gotten to the point where he's gone from a low filter guy to a no filter guy, and so he keeps accidentally telling the truth. He keeps saying the quiet part out loud without realizing he is. And this is another great example of it here. So look at what he posted on Lie Social. He said, Maggot Hagerman has covered me incorrectly for 10 years. Her book is a joke. 90% of it is fake news. She has made a living off her bad reporting and will pay the price when our multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against the failing New York Times gets to court, which should not be that long. I don't mind bad press if they are right. I do mind fake reporting, like what's in her boring book, and like she's done for 11 years with only one aim in mind, to have Trump lose elections. But as I sit in the Oval Office and ponder, that hasn't worked out too well. Maggot is a loser. If she ever wrote the true story about me, it would actually be quite boring, but loaded with lots of success. Also, I just finished a perfect physical at Walter Reed. I do it every 6 months, and I requested another cognitive test, the only president to do so, 3 times, and I aced them all. Got every question right. Few people in Washington, D.C. could do so, including Maggot and her flunky associate, Jonathan Swan. I would be willing to bet they couldn't get 50% of the questions right. Anyway, don't buy their book. It's garbage. So first of all, I've never seen a better advertisement for their book. Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan. I believe it's called Regime Change. That's point number 1. Point number 2, it's obviously driving him crazy because he can't shut the fuck up about it, which means that the overwhelming majority of the stuff in the book, if not all the stuff in the book, is completely and totally factually accurate. Okay? But number 3, and perhaps this is the most important point, did Trump just say he went for another secret doctor visit? Did Trump just say he requested another physical and another cognitive test? I don't need to explain to you something very basic and very simple, that it is not actually a thing for somebody, no matter how old they are, if they are in good health, to go like every 2 months or 3 months to get another physical and another cognitive test. By the way, he acts like it's an IQ test. It's not. It's a dementia test. He's been taking a dementia test. That's what it is. He's even like talked about some of the questions on it. They'll show you a picture and it'll say, which is the elephant and which is the giraffe? And it's like, hey, bro, that's not an IQ test. That is like a, do you need a live-in nurse 24/7 test? That's what that is. So he openly talks about that. Like, and by the way, the only reason they give that in the first place is like, oh, you're showing signs of your brain not working anymore. That's why they would give that. That, you know, they're not going around giving that to like a healthy 34-year-old. Why? Because why the fuck would you give it to a healthy 34-year-old? No, they only start giving it, oh, grandpa's showing signs. Should we take the keys from him, perhaps? Like, that's where we are. So he casually admits he went for another, by the way, I looked it up. You want to know how many doctor's visits he's had just in his second term so far? Just in his second regime? 6. 6 visits to the doctor just in his second regime. And by the way, some of those, they just lied and said, oh, he's going to the dentist. He has a dentist appointment. There's a dentist office literally in the White House. If he had a dentist appointment, he would just go there. But no, he went to Palm Beach to go to a dentist appointment. See, this is what I'm saying. The lies, man. Oftentimes now he accidentally tells the truth, but he's a pathological liar at the same time. But it's not hard to piece together what's happening here. 6 different doctor's visits, secret doctor's visits, routinely taking the dementia test. I mean, add on top of that, never sleeps and brags about never sleeping. That catches up to you. When you build a sleep debt over the years, that shit catches up like nobody's business, okay? Diabetes, remember that? We saw the prick in his finger, which would be indicative of diabetes. He's obese. He's 80 years old. That would make sense. Potentially congestive heart failure, as evidenced by his chronic venous insufficiency, which isn't really that because it was acute. It wasn't over an extended period of time, which means it suggests some sort of serious problem with the heart, like congestive heart failure. Potentially mini strokes, also disappearing at the beginning of every month to inject Lord knows what in his hands, which is why he gets the bruises on his hands. That could be an Alzheimer's drug, Leqembi, because Alzheimer's runs in his family. I mean, it is out of this world what we're witnessing. Let me also show you this. Look at this. Not the face of a person who just got good news. Trump has had another physical just 6 weeks after his last visit. Oh my God. Speculation about Trump's mental and physical health came after a string of gaffes at the NATO summit, struggling to climb the steps of Air Force One and having to be guided by President Tayyip Erdogan. That's right. He was like wandering around, totally lost, didn't know what was going on. He was saying stuff like the Islamic Republic of Japan. Remember that? He was saying the JCPOC instead of the JCPOA. Look at this face. Guys, come on. Come on, man. No. Come on. Come on. I don't care if you're the biggest Trump supporter in the world. Does that look like a healthy man? Does that look like a healthy man that just got good news? Does that look like a guy who just perfectly aced his physical? I mean, nobody has been a bigger bullshit artist than this man. Lord only knows what the actual diagnosis is and what the prognosis is. But this face says it all, doesn't it? All right, more. Here's another picture. Here's a picture of Donald Trump returning to the White House after his perfect physical at Walter Reed today. Look at this. He looks like fucking death. I told you guys, I have a theory that every old white man slowly but surely morphs into Miss Doubtfire. And this, I've never seen a better example of it than right here. I mean, this is Miss Doubtfire to a T. By the way, I'm well aware I am on top of it as much as a human can possibly be on top of it, that by the time I turn like 65, I don't turn into Miss Doubtfire. I'm going to try everything I possibly can in my power to make sure I don't end up like Miss Doubtfire. Because like I said, I think it's written in the genetics of every white man that as you get old, you turn into Miss Doubtfire in this bitch, okay? That's not good, bro. This is not good. Let me show you this. So Rosie O'Donnell, she now, I believe, lives in Ireland because Donald Trump put a target on her back. And as we all know, Donald Trump has made a point of going after all of his enemies. He's gone after, James Comey, Robert Mueller back when he was alive, gone after Don Lemon for doing basic reporting. He's basically throwing the book at anybody and everybody who pisses him off. I mean, he's going after, we'll do a story on this either later today or tomorrow, but now he's subpoenaing New York Times reporters for reporting on his Qatari plane, right? Like, this is what this guy does. This is what he does. If I was Jack Smith, I'd be worried. He's gone after Letitia James. I'm sure Fonnie Willis is on the list. Like, this is what he does. This is what he does, okay? So Rosie O'Donnell fled the country. Smart, so Trump can't go after her. And she sits down here with an interview with Tab Jaker. And look, she's shout out to her because this stuff doesn't get said oftentimes on CNN, even though it should. But she's going to tell the truth about what's going on with Trump right now. Here we go.
I'm standing up for the country that I love so much, and I'm calling him out at every turn where his blatant criminal behavior in the White House needs to be addressed. And, he had a very long run of lies with The Celebrity Apprentice. And those people who are watching and believing that, it set up a cult-like status for him where his people don't care about anything he does, apparently even the sexual abuse of children. And that's a line that I never thought we would get to in this country, that there could be such a mediocre man with such horrible, horrible reputation could be running this great nation of ours. And I think it's the worst thing that ever happened to the United States. And if we don't wake up soon, it's going to be too late.
When you posted about leaving the U.S., you said you might return when, quote, it's safe for all citizens to have equal rights there in America. Does that mean that when Trump leaves office, presumably January 2029, you'll come back? Or it depends on who wins the election in 2028?
Yes. Well, I don't think, Jake, that he is going to survive that long. All the medical doctors that you can get accurate opinions of what's happening to him, because his demise is visible and apparent to everyone who is not willfully blind. I mean, he called Zelensky Putin. He makes the kind of mistakes that you would forgive at Thanksgiving dinner, but you would never let grandpa cut the turkey because it might be dangerous, because he doesn't know what he's saying.
Don't forget you refer to the Islamic Republic of Japan, I think, as well.
Correct. I mean, we can sit here and name them. There are so many obvious understanding of his dementia and how it's taking over.
Wow. Wow. By the way, I have a theory that the reason Jake Tapper invited on Rosie O'Donnell for this conversation is because Jake Tapper is feeling tremendous guilt at the fact that he wrote that book about Joe Biden, where he virtue signaled about how, oh, there was a big cover-up and people weren't telling the truth about Joe Biden's health. And here I am after the fact saying, oh, yes, we need to be better in the media. Well, here we are today, and you have another opportunity to write another book and get that bitch out to market ASAP, Jake Tapper, and have that book tell the truth about Trump and his much bigger cover-up than what was happening with Biden. But instead of doing it, you're not. You're running and hiding and not saying nearly as much about Trump's cognitive and physical deterioration. And so now you invite on Rosie O'Donnell to, by proxy, tell the truth. So you can at least point out, oh, I had on Rosie. Rosie told the truth. I had on Rosie to say the things. What a scumbag. What a fucking scumbag. I'm waiting for that book. I'm waiting for that book on Trump. But Rosie's 100% right. 100% right. And it's getting to the point where it's undeniable now, right? Like, it's getting to the point where nobody can in good faith say, I think he's doing great. I think he's in good physical health. I think he's in good mental health. It is quite literally impossible to say that and be an honest person. And so it's all catching up, bro. It is all catching up. But what we're looking at here is very simple and very straightforward. His health is collapsing. It's his 6th emergency doctor visit. He's covering it up. And it's a classic Trump move where the thing that you're most guilty of, you go over the top and say you're the most innocent, right? Like, it's the perfect phone call. I made the perfect phone call when it was the phone call about Ukraine that he was impeached over. It was the perfect phone call. Now he's doing that. I'm in the best health of anybody ever. Nobody's ever seen somebody in better health than me. Right? Like, you go over the top and make the lie so absurd that you hope people look at that and go, okay, well, maybe he's not the most healthy ever, but I guess he's somewhat healthy, or else why would he say that? But those tricks can't work anymore. Again, he's a 2-bit con man. The mask has been removed, and it's time for everybody to wake up.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
All right, y'all, so we got to talk about this. Khanna visited the West Bank to see with his own 2 eyes what it's like for Palestinians. And I'm not kidding when I say that in retrospect, looking back at this, his life was in danger on this trip. He definitely could have died on this trip. And the reason I say that is the psycho illegal Israeli settler occupiers simply don't give a shit. Not only do they kill Palestinians all the time in pogroms, they've killed American citizens. They've killed American citizens and largely gotten away with it. Okay? So you have a U.S. congressperson going to the West Bank to see with his own 2 eyes what it's actually like for Palestinians. And he came out of this experience a changed man. He was like, oh my God, I've never experienced anything like this before in my life. This is like hell on earth. Okay? So first, to just establish for you who we're dealing with here. Okay? You have Israeli settlers who hunted down a CNN media crew seemingly in an attempt to assault them or kill them. Take a look at this. This video is from CNN. Here we go.
Window. Go.
On the anniversary of the murder of 2 Palestinians by Israeli settlers in Mazra Sharkir, we, together with a CNN crew, accompanying Kamal Musaled, a father of Saif, who was beaten to death by settlers last year, back to the place where he was killed.
I'm being completely honest. The first thing I've heard that actually scared me was the mayor of Sinjar saying, there's a guy on the mountain with an M16 who shoots from afar.
That's Jasper Nathaniel. He does stuff like this all the time in the West Bank to expose the truth. Settler is chasing a CNN car. By the way, let me just say, it's not a coincidence. It's not an accident that they're dressed in the fundamentalist attire, okay? That's not a coincidence. These are people who sincerely believe God gifted me all of this land. God gifted me all of this land. It's mine because it says so in my holy book. Well, I'm here to tell you that shit is completely and utterly made up. That shit is fake. It is not your land, okay? And you're not making a good case for your connection to reality when you're wearing that outfit, okay? Please spare me. There's a Kyle rule in politics that you are allowed to make fun of any and all religious fundamentalist people because they're full of shit. They believe utter nonsense. And now we have fundamentalists who are fundamentally violent as well. And that should be a wake-up call to everybody. I mean, look at what they're doing to these people. Here we go.
Jill saying, there's a guy on the mountain with an M16 who shoots from afar.
Wow, he's ready to throw a rock. Look.
He's got a knife. He's going for a tire.
Oh my God!
Go.
Fuck. No, he's going to our car.
Go, drive, drive. Move, bitch! Get the fuck out of the way! Move! Drive. Go. Watch out.
Oh, there they are.
The settlers are after us?
Yeah, they're right behind us. Help them to accelerate. They're like Stevie Wonder, come on. Help them to accelerate!
They're chasing them.
Fucking move! Fuck, there are more of them. Go!
Shit.
Oh, fuck!
Go!
Hey,
By the way, let's just call it what it is. These people are looking for trouble. They are looking for violence. They are looking to terrorize. They are looking to steal territory, ethnically cleanse. That's what they want to do. That's the point. And they feel perfectly justified in doing all these things. In fact, it gives them meaning. It gives them hope. That's why they do it. So this is what I mean when I say this is evil. This is what evil looks like in real life.
fucking did it. Those fucking little bitch-ass settlers. Fucking sticks and they're fucking stones. We fucking got there.
And they're still following.
Are they coming into Sinjo?
Yeah.
They're coming. Go.
The ambulance is already here. The attack on us was the third attack on journalists in this area only in the past year. And
Third attack on journalists in the area in the past year.
the only reason we were able to make this visit is because CNN had a bulletproof vehicle with Israeli license plates and we were wearing press pass. Since last April, settlers have occupied this land. They are now literally living in Palestinian homes in Area A, which is unprecedented.
This one last time I was here, I saw a settler outside sweeping the steps.
What left us with a broken windshield would likely have meant another Palestinian victim if Palestinians had tried to return to their own land.
And by the way, let me be clear. Despite the every now and then virtue signaling of the Israeli government, they are 100% backing these people up. Every now and then they might pretend like they're not to keep some semblance of legitimacy, but no, they are backing them up every single step of the way. Okay, so Khanna makes the same trip to the West Bank. He says, Israeli settlers brandishing American-made M4s detained me and other Americans on my trip to Palestine. When the IDF arrived, they sided with the settlers and continued our detention. They made a huge mistake. You'll be hearing more soon. And so he has a short video here, as you can see, being detained. Psycho Israeli settler with an American weapon. And here's another picture of it. You can see right here. So Khanna and his team held at gunpoint by psycho Israeli occupiers is what this is, okay? So then he's asked about it after the fact, and he says the following. Listen to what he says.
I saw the arrogance in the eyes of those settlers, 21 and 22-year-olds with guns, laughing that they had detained us. The arrogance of those young IDF soldiers that my tax dollars are funding, having no respect for the fact that they were detaining Americans, no respect that there was an American congressperson in that bus, and laughing when our translator told them that there are Americans there and the American embassy is concerned. It is the arrogance of power, of a power that has had no accountability, total impunity, and has created a toxic culture of oppression.
And he goes on to say, look, if they treated me like that, an American congressperson, theoretically with the power to like actually get revenge on them and say, how about I take away all your weapons, right? Think about what they do to Palestinians who have no power and have no title, right? So here he is. We have another interview that he did here posted by Dropsite. Listen to what he says.
I'm paying for a military that is detaining me and that is siding with foreign settlers brandishing guns against me against Americans. It's been probably the most emotionally powerful trip of my life. I was telling someone I've never felt more powerless. I saw firsthand the hoodlums that some of the settlers are. They surrounded our bus, brandishing M4s made in America. They were laughing as they did this. And the other thing I saw firsthand is the IDF, instead of protecting American citizens, took their side. The IDF, in Area C at least, is on the side of the settlers who are violent. They're not on the side of justice.
Does everybody understand now? When we call it a terrorist rape state, there's a reason why we do that. Do you understand that now? That this is a government that not only did a literal genocide in Gaza, live streamed in 4K, but there's also a government that just passed a law to basically turn their prison camps into death camps and murder every Palestinian hostage that they've taken. Over 10,000 of them. That this is a country and a government that has allowed the IDF soldiers to constantly grape Palestinian prisoners. Do you understand that? That now, like, this is seemingly opening not just his eyes, but a lot of people's eyes that, oh, this is the nature of this government. This is what happens when you consistently get away with absolutely every negative, horrible, criminal thing you do, is that it feeds more negative, horrible, criminal activity. And that becomes the defining characteristic of who you are. And ultimately, what does Israel want to do? They're an ethno-state. What they want to do is expand their borders. They're expansionist by their very nature. It's a settler colonial project. It's expansionist by nature. They want to create a greater Israel. They want to ethnically cleanse the region, control the entire Middle East, become a regional superpower, and eventually become a global superpower. But in order to do that, they need the support of the United States of America today. And we obviously should cut off that support. We should have cut it off a long fucking time ago. But cut off all the money, cut off all the weapons, arrest all of the war criminals in the regime, get rid of all of them, and listen to what Khanna is saying here.
And this happened to me personally, where we were detained for 90 minutes, where people were fearful for our safety. And I thought to myself, if they can do this to an American congressman, what can they do to Palestinians?
When you're passing these checkpoints, you're passing 18, 19-year-olds who are holding weapons that are paid by American tax dollars. Did this trip kind of help you see that there is a presence, that people here do feel occupied by both America and Israel?
Yes, I do. I saw it firsthand. I mean, I voted initially before October 7th for aid to Israel in the United States Congress. Right. And they're taking the money that I voted for, literally voted for in the floor of Congress, to support an IDF that is detaining me here.
You paid for your own detainment.
I'm paying for a military that is detaining me, and that is siding with foreign settlers brandishing guns against me, against Americans. How dare they? Who the hell do they think they are? And I am going to tell this story in every town, in every city in America, in rural America, in factory towns, in communities across this country. We're done with that kind of behavior. It's a culture of impunity. And if you come to the West Bank, it reminds me of what I've read in the history books of Jim Crow. That's the closest that I can describe. And I didn't understand it. I read about it academically, but I experienced it. I also say something. This is the first time I've actually felt the burden of my race. The minute I came here in the West Bank, I felt I was seen first as someone who was brown, second as someone who was an American, third as someone who was a congressperson. I felt that my race suddenly became my most visible identifier.
The big question in DC since 2023 is who has the power in this relationship between Israel and the U.S.? After seeing this, what are you going to take back to the congresspeople there?
Now, we need to reassert our power. It's totally absurd that Israel feels that they have any legitimacy to dictate to the United States, not just because they're totally dependent on American military and American funding and America's protection, but because what they're doing is unjust. And Israel's making a big mistake because the politics in our country has shifted, even if they haven't. And I guarantee you, this new generation is going to bring justice. I have seen awful, awful things, but my message is simple. Americans need to come here and see the apartheid in the West Bank with their own eyes. It is one of the most unjust, cruel occupations in the world today.
You know, when I was on vacation last week, my mom pulled me aside at one point and she said, is this thing true that they're trying to basically merge together the U.S. military and the Israeli military? Is that actually happening? And I had to explain to her, yeah, it is. They're trying to slip it into the NDAA, the must-pass NDAA, and it's a provision to get Israeli tentacles so deep in our military system and our intelligence system that even when a president comes along and wants to break up with them, they effectively can't. It's the Peter Thiel strategy. Make Palantir so intertwined with our government systems that you can't really break up with Palantir. They will always have a stranglehold in our government because technologically they're too intertwined. And Israel's trying to do the same thing with intelligence sharing, with military stuff. It's treason. Any U.S. politician who votes for that, in my opinion, is guilty of treason. They're guilty of treason. Because look at what this country is. Look at what this government does. I mean, it is beyond disgusting. By the way, total fucking stage 5 meltdown back here in the U.S. when it comes to the Zionist reaction or overreaction to Khanna. Oh, he's a con man. He's a fraud. He's this, he's that. How? Why? Because he decided to take a trip to see where our tax money is going, what it's funding, and he found out, oh, it's funding a bunch of thugs who are terrorizing innocent people and doing pogroms and stealing land. How in any way, shape, or form is that fraudulent? How in any way, shape, or form is that bad? No, it's not. It's just that you're a Zionist and you don't like it when people tell the truth about Zionism. That's the reality of the situation. So here's one example right here. Emily Schrader says, U.S. Representative Khanna is a charlatan and dishonest. His tour was halted on the bus because they entered a closed military zone, which is prohibited due to safety to civilians. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Police were called in to discuss the problem with the tour organizer, who had repeatedly attempted to enter the CMZ in the past as well. The bus has to wait until the arrival of the officers to the scene, which is what caused the delay. It was not a detainment and no one was arrested. Police stated they had already reviewed the body cam footage of police at the scene, confirming this account. The tour participants were also briefed and then continued on their way. Much like Rahm Emanuel, this is another example of propagandists. Really? Rahm Emanuel now is not pro-Israel enough? Who behaves as if he's paid by America's enemies? Oh, please. Meanwhile, Israel is the one that's paying all these. The Israel lobby's got a stranglehold on our politicians. You're fucking paying our politicians, and you're the fucking enemy. How about that? She ends with, Khanna, you are truly pathetic. You have people, I'm not kidding when I say, Ari Fleischer, who was the main spokesperson for the illegal war in Iraq that killed hundreds of thousands of people. He came out and said something like, Khanna is a pathetic person, totally unserious, totally ridiculous. Thank you, man who was the chief propagandist for an illegal war that massacred children, for your thoughts on this matter. I'm sure everybody's going to take them very seriously. Fuck off. Fuck off. They're melting down. And then you got this. So, Israel lobby panics. All out smear mode. They press the button. Press the button. End this guy. Press the button. Dump everything we got, right? Ready? So then they say this. New York Post. Khanna blew off offer to meet former Israeli hostages, October 7th survivors on campaign trip, according to a source. Completely and utterly made up. Total lie. Total lie. No basis in truth whatsoever. Made up. Just made it up. Why? Because now they realize here's a guy who's typically viewed as a calm, sane, rational, reasonable voice on various issues. He's not me, right? He's not me. He's not some asshole on YouTube running his mouth. He's a respected congressperson. And he comes out and says these things. It's devastating for the perception of Israel, even more than it's already been devastated. And so they're panicking. So what do? I don't know. Try to make it seem like he's a psycho and he's unreasonable. Oh, he said fuck you to the Israeli hostages. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. So they're losing their fucking minds. Fox News also invited him on to fucking berate him. We might cover that not tomorrow, but the day after. We'll see. But, man, look at what happens when you try to tell the truth. Look at what happens when you try to tell the truth. They will fucking rain holy hell on your head. But this is what happened also. Khanna started going after the billionaires. They also were raining holy hell on his head, and they launched a primary campaign against him. That guy got blown the fuck out, by the way. But they're like smearing him 1,000 ways to Sunday. So he's now the target of the Epstein-class billionaires and the target of the Israel lobby. And they're stopping at nothing to go after Khanna. That should tell you something. That should tell you something serious. So shout out to him. Thank you for shining a spotlight on this issue. And with every fucking smear campaign that's directed at him from the Zionists, he goes up another point or two in the polls. That's where I think we're at now.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
When I tell y'all, it didn't even take 24 hours for the truth to finally start coming out about Lindsey Graham. Oh, I mean it. I mean it. I'm not sure his body was cold before some people started speaking up and letting some news out there. Let's start with this. Keith Edwards says, apparently the NDAs are no longer enforceable. And he posed this, okay? James is smiling on Instagram, I guess this is, says the following. Just woke up to find out Lindsey Graham is dead. LOL? Most of you know him as the homophobic senator from South Carolina, but to me, he will always be the man who paid a Twinkie pre-transition college student, this person, to a fat stack of cash to do unspeakable things to him in a hotel room while he wore red lingerie. It is a canon trans event to have far-right freaks bankrolling you and then turning around and voting against you. People love to judge us for it, but I never see them opening their wallets. Shout out to sex workers everywhere forced to humanize their enemies just to make rent. It is an absolute mindfuck to me that one of the reasons I have any semblance of financial security and a lack of student loans is because of this man. At the time, I had no idea who he was, and I only figured it out because another group of twinks leaked Lady G to the media. Some queers tried to grandstand critique this, saying we shouldn't out people. I believe bigots with power deserve no peace or privacy, especially when they hold public office. I'm glad they did it. Icons forever. Anyway, if you've ever enjoyed what I do on the internet, know that it is in part because of Lindsey's generous donations over a decade ago. If I've ever sent you money for something, know that was kickstarted by the now deceased sissy senator from South Carolina. Lindsey, rest in hell for what you did to our community. I will continue to love queer and trans people harder than you ever hated us. You loved every second of our time together, and now everyone knows. Now, let me just say, I'll just say right up front here, y'all. I'll just say right up front here. I have no evidence of any of the things that were claimed by this person. Zero evidence of it. It's possible that people are using the fact that he's now gone to just start saying all sorts of shit, knowing that I guess you can't sue for libel or slander or defamation like that after somebody's dead, right? Or it's true. Or it's true. And look, there's always been these rumblings. There's always been these rumblings when it comes to Lindsey Graham, man. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. There was that picture of him. He was at Disney not that long ago, and he was holding some like kid's toy, walking around. That was weird. That was bizarre. Bachelor at 71 years old. I don't think he was ever married. Just like I told you the other day, you guys can look up yourself where the term ladybugs comes from, the nickname ladybugs. I won't tell you. You look it up. You go read about it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But this is a very classic thing for this profile of person. If you're hardcore MAGA, if you're super Republican, if you're super Christian, if you vote in an anti-gay fashion, if you're a televangelist, I mean, how many of these people are screaming 24/7 about how homosexuality is bad and wrong, and the second that people look away, they are gargling balls. They are choking on dick. I mean, so many of them have been caught. I still think back to like Ted Haggard. Remember that guy? Televangelist preacher dude got caught doing crystal meth off a hooker's ass when he preaches against gayness all the time, or preached against gayness all the time. Think of all the Larry Craig. Think of all the Republicans who scream up and down about morality and family values and then fundamentally do the opposite of what they preach. I mean, look at Brian Noam, right? Brian Noam, who's married to, what's-her-face, Kristi Noam, who was out torturing immigrants across this country. Meanwhile, he's bouncing his big old titties around and jacking off with sex workers on a Zoom call. Like, all these guys, they all have skeletons in their closet. They're all super repressed. I mean, I've told you guys about the study where they attached electrodes to the penises of men and then showed them porn. And the men who expressed homophobic attitudes always got hard when shown homophobic pornography. Whereas the men who had no problem with gay people stayed flaccid during gay porn, and they would get erect during being shown straight porn. Like, you're kind of just telling on yourself. You're telling on yourself if you hate gay people, hate trans people, hate queer people, base your life around that, are very vocal about that. You're kind of telling on yourself. It's self-hatred. That's what it is. Typically, they're raised in a religious environment. They're told it's wrong, but they've always felt that way deep down inside. And so that manifests itself in a very ugly way, where you're publicly very scornful of those groups, but quietly in back rooms, you're beating your little meat to all sorts of LGBTQ stuff, and you're meeting with trans sex workers and whatever else, right? And he could have, guys, think about it. The solution is simple. Like, all you got to do if you're one of these people is come out, apologize, vote in a pro-LGBTQ way, and start living as yourself. And your happiness level will fucking skyrocket. Your happiness level will skyrocket if you're true to yourself, if you're honest, and if you stop, besmirching and oppressing a community that you're low-key a part of. You will be able to sleep much better at night. And you won't drop dead from a heart attack at 71 years old. And by the way, he also clearly had a drinking problem. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but he's done a number of TV appearances within the past year or two where you watch it and you go, man, this guy is sauced up, bro. This guy is on Neptune right now, stumbling over words. Remember, he was trying to say anti-Semites on TV. He said anti-Seminites. Anti-Semenites. He's got semen on the brain. But yeah, man, I would be surprised if this is the last we heard from James is Smiling. I'd be surprised if this is the last we heard. I think there's going to be more people that come out now that say, oh yeah, I was with him. I was with him. It's, if you can, if there's a high dollar male escort or trans escort business in DC, they probably got some stories that would just blow your fucking socks off, bro. That would just, you would be in awe if you heard some of the shit that these people probably know. And at some point, the truth will come out. I cannot wait. We're 3.5 years from now, and Netflix releases a documentary that's got all the details of this. Whoo, buddy. Is that going to be an eye-opener to a lot of people? So, I don't know, man. You guys tell me, is this an opportunistic thing said by somebody who now they know they won't get sued for libel or slander or defamation? Or is the truth finally just coming out? Because I'm inclined to believe that, because people have been speculating a lot about this guy anyway. By the way, there's also speculation about Mitch McConnell. That's another one. There's also speculation about the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Remember Mike Johnson said, I have an app on my phone. I track when my son jacks off, and he tracks when I jack off. So if they go to a naughty website, it gets like a notification on the phone. You get a notification on your phone. Like, what the fuck is that? These people, by the way, he also allegedly lives with a man in D.C., Mike Johnson does. So there's a long list of these closet cases who are just in too deep. And I think everybody kind of knows low-key that that we're dealing with one here when it comes to Lindsey Graham. So he's living more as himself in death as he ever did when he was alive. So in a sense, he's more free than he's ever been.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
All right, y'all, we got to talk about this, but the polling collapse among MAGA has been honestly unprecedented in my lifetime. I mean, I've seen big swings in polling data. I'm not sure I've ever seen swings this severe, this extreme, this complete, okay? So 2 weeks ago, we talked about this at the time, but there was a Trump poll that came out, had him at 30% approval rating. 30. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't need to tell you that is right smack dab in the middle of what I told you is the absolute basement of where he could be, right? I always said between 25% and 33% is his absolute floor. Well, now the fact of the matter is, I think it's closer to that 25% number, because I don't think we've seen anything yet, because we haven't even had a recession, a depression. We haven't even had gas be rationed, shoot up to $7 a gallon. And I think those things are coming relatively soon. The AI bubble bursting, for example. So this 30% can become 25% at some point, and maybe it can even get down to like 22% in this bitch, okay? But 2 weeks ago, a poll came out, Trump at a 30% approval rating from the American Research Group. They commissioned a poll. Only 26% approve of Trump's economic handling, 73% saying the economy is worsening, and 65% believing the U.S. is already in a recession, okay? Pew survey finds just 23% in 36 countries confident in Trump, and fewer see the U.S. as a reliable partner compared to Biden's term. So he's hated more domestically, he's hated more internationally, and we have a 30% overall approval rating poll. That is way below anything we've seen from any of the other modern presidents. I mean, the closest one was Bush at the end of his term. I think he had one that was like 29 or 25, thereabouts. But this is way below anything. Biden was at his lowest, way below. Obama at his lowest, way below. Bill Clinton at his lowest. People fucking hate this guy now. In fact, the average of the polls, he's at about 37%. That's the average. That's including the like pro-Republican skewed junk polling data that has Trump at like 43% support or whatever, which is comically too high. Okay, that's point number one. Then we also have this. This just came out from Gallup. Ready? New party identification polls. This is when you ask the American people, do you identify as a Democrat or a Republican or whatever else, right? Democrats are now at 49%. Republicans, 39%. That's the highest lead for any party in 6 years. So we're back to Democrats having a built-in 10-point party identification label. So they have a 10-point lead when it comes to party identification. That's astonishing. Double-digit lead on that. And by the way, let me be clear, this is all because of how horrific Donald Trump is, how horrific MAGA is, how they're destroying the country day in and day out. This has virtually nothing to do with the Democrats and everything to do with the Republicans, where people are going, I'm whatever the opposite of they are, okay? I'm the opposite of that. Whatever's happening now, count me on the other team, okay? 10-point advantage. All right, how about this one? Trump approval and generic congressional ballot for the House midterms. Ratings were updated as of the 12th of July. This is from Nate Silver's Silver Bulletin. Okay, so here's Trump. He has, here's the overall approval disapproval of Trump. He has Trump's average at 39.7% approve, 56.5% disapprove. Okay, his net approval rating is at minus 16.9%. So he's at minus 17% with his net approval rating. On all individual issues, and this is hard to recover from, y'all. On every individual issue, he's underwater. Immigration minus 9.3, trade minus 23.5, economy minus 25.7, inflation minus 43.1. I don't even see foreign policy here, but if you added foreign policy in this mix, that shit's also got to be in the minus 35 to 40% range. Okay, I mean, that is abysmally low. And then he has the Democrats with about a 7-point advantage when it comes to the midterms. Okay, not party ID, but just midterm generic ballot. There was a poll we covered the other week, again, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Democrats had a 16-point lead on the generic ballot in the midterms. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no other way to describe this. What we're looking at is a polling apocalypse. This is the floor collapsing under MAGA. This is the rug being pulled out from underneath them. They're in serious, serious trouble. And the fact of the matter is, this is why you see Trump crashing out. This is why you see him launching a new effort to steal the election. Every other week, he comes up with a new idea, comes up with a new avenue by which he could try to put his thumb on the scale and rig the votes for the midterms, but also for 2028. They know that they're barbecued unless they take drastic action. And they're already showing signs they're going to do exactly that. So, crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff to see here. But they are really in a historically terrible position. And like I said, we haven't even hit the bottom yet. We really haven't. Because now with the illegal war against Iran ramping up again, more war crimes being committed, the Strait of Hormuz being closed longer, people don't realize the rationing that's coming, the higher gas prices that are coming, the higher grocery prices that are coming. They're going to try to do a ground invasion or take Keshem Island now, or Karg Island now, I would imagine, since obviously they're not really interested in any sort of peace or negotiation or deal. It's been a fake ceasefire all along, to the extent we ever had a ceasefire. Look at where we're at, bro. Look at where we're at. It can only go in one direction, and that direction is not up.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
So you guys have been following the U.S. Senate race in Michigan, and you know, you had Abdul El-Sayed did a phenomenal job in the debate against Haley Stevens, and you know, the online poll that they did after that debate showed that Abdul won pretty handily. But one of the things that's concerning, now Abdul has been up double digits in most polls I've seen. Maybe there's a handful of like push polls that have them roughly tied, but in most of the polls I've seen him up double digits. But the only concerning thing I see is that the Haley Stevens campaign has resorted to a trick, which in my opinion should be illegal, but they're doing it anyway. And that trick is like pretending that Obama endorsed her when he didn't. You know, sending out these mailers that have like a quote from Obama about how she had some, you know, position in his administration that did something that he probably doesn't even fucking remember her working for them. And oh yeah, she did a great job doing that or whatever. And so now you have some older black voters in Michigan who've spoken to the media and they go, oh yeah, we're voting for Stevens because Obama endorsed her. And again, he didn't do that. But this is like the dirty trick that they're reduced to in order to try to get across the finish line. Whereas Abdul is, you know, pounding the pavement, pushing home the policies, running an ethical campaign, right? So that's the one thing that's sort of scaring me. But the fact of the matter is, Haley Stevens was really tarred with this idea, this notion that, listen, you're just taking a tremendous amount of money from AIPAC. And like, Democrats don't like that. In fact, Democrats fucking hate that. And like, you need to own the fact that you're representing a special interest group that our base despises in the same way that they despise the military industrial complex, in the same way they despise Wall Street, perhaps even more so than those lobbies, right? And so that has landed 1,000 times over. Well, the people over at the Bulwark decided to commission basically like this focus group of Democrats to ask them what they think of AIPAC. And the results here are amazing. Now, you also have Tommy Vietor of the Pod Save podcast here, and I don't know, they're both a little taken aback by just how clear Democratic voters are in their feelings on AIPAC. Listen to this.
AIPAC, which is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, it's gotten thrown around as a litmus test in many Democratic primaries, usually by more progressive challengers. Let's listen to some of the word associations we heard when we said, when you hear AIPAC.
Genocide, extremists.
I'm thinking extortion.
Genocide, extremist, and extortion. When they did a word association game with AIPAC. Think about how AIPAC has worked overtime to try to soften their image, try to make it seem like, oh, we're just a lobby like anybody else is a lobby. This is about freedom. This is about, trying to keep our relationship with Israel strong. Look at the reaction. Genocide, extremist, extortion when you bring up AIPAC. People are sick of their shit. They are sick of their shit. Oh, my days.
Associations, we heard when we said, when you hear AIPAC.
Genocide. Extremists.
I'm thinking extortion.
There's a site on the internet called AIPAC Tracker, where you can find out how much money people have taken from AIPAC and other Israeli sources. And Haley Stevens has taken damn near the most money of anybody in the country. So she is right out for me.
I want to definitely make the point that I'm not saying that, if this candidate takes money from Jewish groups, I'm not voting. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying AIPAC specifically.
What you're hearing there is concern about U.S. policy towards Israel, but also that AIPAC has kind of become synonymous with dark money spending that distorts our politics and makes the U.S. government do things that are not in our best interests.
It's insane that they're not registered as a foreign agent, bro. It's insane that they're not registered as a foreign agent. I mean, let's not get it twisted. What AIPAC really is it's a representative of the Israeli government. And, they try to lie. Oh, well, it's really just American Israelis. No, if it was actually representative of American Israelis, it would be much more anti-Netanyahu, much more anti-ethno-state Israeli government. It would be in favor of a democratic Israel. Because American Jews are very anti-Netanyahu. They're very anti-genocide. They're much more liberal and left-leaning. And so you can't say, this just represents like American Jews or American Israelis. It doesn't. It represents like a far-right MAGA pro-genocide worldview. That's just a fact. They try to whine and cope and bitch and moan, but this is why they have the new trick that they've used, where instead of like AIPAC directly giving money, they give money to these shell companies or these shell groups, and then the shell groups give money to the politicians that they like, and they mask it behind other issues. They'll have like, this is like a woman's group, and you go and look, trace the funding, and no, it goes right back to AIPAC. So they lie. They also have run ads in places where the ads have nothing to do with Israel, where they mask it behind other issues. They try to like attack Democrats for, you weren't sufficiently loyal to, Build Back Better or Biden's policies or whatever. This is what they do. They've come up with all these like gross tricks to try to fool you and convince you, no, we're the good guys. And people are sick of it. People are sick of it. I mean, I think this money should be fucking banned in U.S. politics, but at the very least, they should register as a foreign agent. That's at the very fucking least. If it was Saudi money that was used like this, or fucking Turkish money, or Iranian money, there would be no tolerance for this. None. Zero. But since it's Israel, it's like, they're our allies, so it's okay. Oh, is it? They're also committing a fucking genocide and shooting children in the face. I don't know. I kind of want to get that out of our system. How about you?
That AIPAC has kind of become synonymous with dark money spending that distorts our politics and makes the U.S. government do things that are not in our best interests. And so again, like I'm with you in that I am uncomfortable with the level of emphasis you're hearing about AIPAC. I think they have gone from building ties between the U.S. and Israel to just trying to push like whatever Bibi Netanyahu wants as policy and demand that lawmakers follow suit. But when you hear words like extortion, I think that's wildly overstated. And I think it can play into anti-Semitic tropes.
You have got to be kidding me, Tommy Vietor. You have got to be kidding me. You did a word association game and Democratic voters were asked what they thought of AIPAC. And their reaction is words that are perfectly reasonable and understandable and pretty objectively descriptive. And that's your reaction? That's your reaction? So are Democratic voters just anti-Semites? Is that what it is? I mean, it's come on, man. And I like Tommy. He's been on the show. He oftentimes has good commentary. But I'm sorry. We gotta stop this. We gotta stop this. We gotta wake up. We gotta stop with this nonsense. Like, the fact of the matter is, American voters, Democratic voters, are furious at Israel because we've gave them so much money and so many weapons, and they've used them to commit war crime after war crime and do ethnic cleansing and genocide. And we sit here and watch that, and it's like, why are we giving money for that? Why are we giving weapons for that? Like, we can't even have universal health care in this country or free childcare in this country, but we have money to give to psychos in the IDF who shoot people in the face, who starve people to death, who have grape as a matter of policy, as a matter of systemic course in the detention camps in Israel. Like, this is a sick joke. So I don't know. It's good that the Democratic voters are not being politically correct about this, not being overly sensitive about this. They're just saying what they think, and what they think happens to be correct. The other thing is, and this is, you know, sort of like the death knell for pro-Israel politics in the Democratic Party, is that now Israel as such is viewed not just as genocidal, but also like just MAGA, right? Like when you look at the poll numbers for support for the war against Iran, it's the overwhelming majority of Israelis support the war against Iran. It's only like 25 or 30% of Americans that support the war against Iran. Like when you look at the polling data for do they support Trump, it's through the fucking roof. And so not only are they genocidal and massive warmongers, they're also just MAGA. Like it's a MAGA country. It just is. And so you can't really be a leftist or even a liberal and be like, oh yeah, I love that place. Oh, you mean the place with psychotic warmongers who kill innocent people and love the fucking fascists running the U.S. into the ground? You mean that place? It's not tenable. It doesn't work anymore. But I love how Democratic voters have now totally woken up. And it's time for our pundit class and the commentators to follow suit. Because, there's no salvaging this. I honestly, I don't know what else Israel could have done to say we're the villains. I don't know what else they could have done. They've done quite literally everything. Like, I don't know when they posted this. Was this before or after Khanna was held at gunpoint by psycho-Israeli settlers and backed up by the IDF? Like, I don't know. It's sort of tone deaf. The same week that a U.S. Democratic congressperson was basically abducted by the IDF and psycho settlers and not allowed to go into the West Bank. It's kind of a weird time to do I don't know, this is too close to anti-Semitism when talking about AIPAC. By the way, AIPAC's immediately out there to also go after Khanna for telling the truth about the West Bank. Should tell you quite a bit again.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
All right, y'all. So we have Hunter Biden handing his opponents yet another big, fat, juicy, beefy ass L. Take a look at this. This is kind of a big deal here. Hunter Biden awarded $1.7 million in a defamation lawsuit against former Overstock CEO Patrick Byrne. Patrick Byrne falsely claimed Hunter sought an $800 million bribe from Iran in exchange for influencing U.S. policy. So this is now, I believe, the second Hunter corruption scandal that has gone up in smoke and has been proven to be, beyond any doubt whatsoever, completely and utterly made up. Just totally fake. And I feel bad because I even, on my show, some of the corruption stuff regarding Hunter, like I read the articles, I talked about it on this show as if it was true, but come to find out, as is the case with virtually everything Republicans say, it's just nonsense. It's just pulled out of their ass. And so I feel bad for falling into that stuff because a lot of it's just not accurate. So incredible for him here, literally getting paid nearly $2 million because people are lying about him and saying he's corrupt. The most corrupt thing he's done is sell his paintings, which, you know, if you go look at the amount of money he's made, he's making like 17 cents at a Pop-Tart for some of his paintings. So that's not even all that bad. And you compare that to what's going on now with Trump's kids and Trump himself, and it is just, I mean, shit. He's an angel. He's a Boy Scout. It's like the guy's never done anything wrong. The worst he's ever done is be a drug addict, and that's fucking relatable, if anything, right? Like, and he's very open about his struggle with drug addiction. But these guys, this is the most corrupt family that's ever held power in this country by far, and it's not even close. So, now Hunter is doing the podcast circuit. And by the way, I should point out, Hunter, do your own podcast, man. It'd be the top 20 like that. Like, no question about it. You'd be in the top 20 instantly. But he went on the Jim Acosta show and he said the following. He's talking about RFK and Trump here.
They're literally just paying off people in the Department of Agriculture, in the Department of Health and Human Services. I mean, what an embarrassment RFK is. What an absolute embarrassment. What has he done? What has he done but let's make us, I mean, like, he comes in and talks about, like, lifting the ban or, like, putting a ban on red dye, but while at the same time, he turns around and he takes off all of the safeguards from, the cancer-causing, pesticides and drugs that are killing millions of people, over decades. I just don't get it. I mean, I do get it. I get it. It is all about money. But when it comes to Trump, is that it is all about one thing. It's all about him. It's all about him making money. And I don't even understand that part of it. How does he not understand that he's not going to have a legacy? His only legacy will be remembered as the most corrupt person in the history of the United States of America, by far. Yeah. With the most corrupt family.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's 100% right. And the funny thing is, this is what they tried to tar Hunter with but now Hunter's being vindicated with time, and everything they said against Hunter is true of them. I mean, if you look at Trump's kids, Eric and Don Jr. have a Bitcoin mining operation. Jared took $2 billion with a B from Saudi Arabia, okay, in exchange for giving them classified material, which MBS then used to crack down on his opponents, is what the story is, right? They also created a club, which is literally just for pay-to-play corruption. It's $500,000 to join, and then if you join, you get, like, government contracts and shit like that. And then you also have Trump Jr. invested in a company called Vulcan Earth, and then he got that company $620 million in taxpayer money from the government, the Office of Strategic Capital, from the federal government. It's insane. The self-dealing is off the fucking charts, and this isn't even half of it. Right, I'm sure you guys saw the thing about the mining company in Kazakhstan they're invested in, and they're like stealing the natural resources from that country as well as fucking Venezuela. Like, in retrospect, you look at Hunter and compare him to these people. Hunter is a fucking precious child compared to them. He is a Boy Scout. He's an angel compared to them. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. All right, here he is now, more on Trump. Here we go.
And he literally is sleeping. He's sleeping. There's no like a way around it. It's not once. It's not twice. It's over and over and over again now. And whatever, obviously he has a medical condition. Obviously he has a serious medical condition. And I suspect that it obviously has to do with his heart. And you have the bruises on both hands. You have the bruise on the neck. You have that period of time where he was literally absent without leave for a 5-day period of time. You have the drooping of the right side of his face. It's clearly he has a pulmonary issue or something else. I'm not a doctor, but he's clearly got something. And by the way, that's okay too. But they're never going to tell us the reality of what's going on because we don't deserve it. We don't deserve that.
Well, and
he's the king.
Jesus Christ, he's right. And also, it's kind of crazy that Joe Biden came out as having stage 4 brain cancer, I believe it was. And that was like 2 years ago now. He's still alive. I don't know if you guys understand. What was it, a year and a half ago that he came out and said that? If you have stage 4 cancer, like that's usually you're dead within like 2 or 3 months. So Biden's already lived way longer than what people thought he would live. And now you have Lindsey Graham died before him. Mitch McConnell is a vegetable before him. So you have one Republican after the next dying before Biden, even though Biden, everybody was thinking, oh, he's going to go next and he's going to go quickly. All right, more. Here we go.
I did this whole thing that I really believe that people have been convinced to confuse authenticity with audacity. The audacity of Trump, the audacity to lie in your face, the audacity to just say things that are mean and cruel, the audacity to say he's 6'3", 225 pounds when he's 5'11", and 380, and that's audacity. That's not authenticity.
That's such a great point. I think I'm going to steal it from now on. People always used to say, "Oh yeah, Trump's authentic," or he feels authentic, but that's not accurate because he's not. He's one of the biggest liars in politics in U.S. history. The real thing is he has audacity. So like he'll say like shocking things that put your jaw on the ground, but that doesn't mean it's true. That doesn't mean he's spitting facts. That doesn't mean he's being accurate. In fact, it's almost the default perspective should be it's the opposite all the time. He's lying all the time. That should be your default perspective until proven otherwise. But yeah, it's not authenticity, it's audacity. And there's a big difference there. One is good and one is actually very bad. And then we also have this. Here, I'm telling you, man, I guess he's been hiding his power level for all these years because here Hunter Biden basically comes out as certainly to the left of his dad. Let's say that.
If you can't say that you're for a single-payer healthcare system and that you are for healthcare for everyone, whatever way you get there, and I'm not good. I know that it's complicated, and I know that they make it probably more complicated than it is. But if you can't say that, then you know what? I don't know how you're going to win in the Democratic Party.
Yeah,
I just don't, and because I don't want you to win in the Democratic Party because incremental steps anymore. By the way, inure to the benefit of the opposition because we come in and we don't change anything. We don't change it. We don't break the system structurally enough for people to feel that they're getting better.
I don't know, man. This guy sounds to me like he's more of a Zohran Democrat. You know, he's more of a Zohran Democrat or an FDR Democrat than he is, a Bill Clinton Democrat or even a Joe Biden Democrat. I will say, that's the one thing. He gets a pass on this, though. But it's all, his soft spot for his father. That's perfectly understandable because his dad was there for him when nobody else was there for him, and he supported him through all the shit he put the family through. And so he gets a pass when it's a parent. Like, I could see it is what it is. But that's the other thing. He's got such a soft spot for his dad. I don't think he sees anything wrong with anything his dad has said or done. But he's expressing an opinion here that's to the left of his dad for sure, because his dad famously said he would veto it if a Medicare for All bill got to his desk. And here's Hunter saying, you shouldn't even be able to win in the Democratic Party. I don't think you are if you're not in favor of universal health care in one way or the other. So, yet again, man, vindicated. More W's racking up for Hunter. And like I said, I hope he starts doing his own podcast, because that thing would fucking, would that get views, man? It would be through the roof.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
All right, so this video is wild, man. You're about to see an amazing video here. So Dana Bash on CNN, she had on Brad Lander. Now, Brad Lander just won the primary in New York City for a House of Representatives seat, and he's guaranteed to win the general. Republicans have no chance in this district. Brad Lander, it was very... He took part in helping Zohran get elected, right? He sort of stepped aside, endorsed him. Zohran consolidated, ended up winning. And Brad Lander is Democratic Socialist, very solidly on the left. And on the issue of Israel, he agrees with a lot of our critiques of Israel. He thinks they're committing a genocide. He thinks they're war criminals. But he views himself as a liberal Zionist, right? So he hasn't given up on the project of a Jewish state. He just wants it to be a liberal, small d, democratic Jewish state where you can have peace among Jews and Muslims, Palestinians and Israelis, and presumably he believes in a two-state solution where everybody has, they have different independent states, but they have equal rights and sovereignty, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, he goes on CNN and goes on Dana Bash's show, and Dana Bash, you're going to see here in real time, her brain melts. Like, it malfunctions mid-conversation because she's trying to do like the gotcha against him and trying to smear him as being like an anti-Semite or, being fucked up against Israel or something. But like, she simply cannot process what he's describing and what he's saying. And so it's almost like her brain just tunes out, stops working, and shits the bed instantly. So this is a wild, wild clip. But watch, this is like a man tries to explain simple concepts to psychopathic Zionist who can't understand any of what he's saying. The idea that there'd be any legitimate criticism of Israel, it hits a brick wall known as Dana Bash. All right, here we go.
One of the big reasons you won your primary here is that you separated yourself from the incumbent Democrat Dan Goldman on Israel. You use the term genocide. He does not. You don't want to have the U.S. funding Israel militarily. You call yourself a liberal Zionist. What is a liberal Zionist?
I believe in the vision of a Jewish and democratic Israel. I care about the place, but I don't think it's possible for it to be democratic while it's occupying the West Bank and Gaza. And I don't think that Israel's conduct in Gaza, which I do consider a genocide, is consistent with Jewish values. So to me, it's like you stand up and you call it as you see it. I don't want to keep sending U.S. military aid to Israel while it's violating international law and Palestinian human rights. But I want it to actually honor international law and Palestinian human rights so it can be the Jewish and democratic Israel that I grew up believing in.
I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I understand. You said that you don't think it's a democratic Israel?
I want it to be a Jewish and democratic Israel. Right now, I don't think it's modeling democracy while it occupies the West Bank and Gaza and half the people under its sovereignty can't vote. But I believe that when occupation ends, then it can be Jewish and democratic. And that's what I am going to be I'm fighting for.
Why are you not just a Zionist? Why do you say liberal Zionist? What do you think the difference is?
I mean,
Look at her face. She's so flabbergasted and confounded and shocked and like, I don't understand. Here on CNN, nobody's allowed to criticize Israel. How are you criticizing Israel? This makes no sense. Why would you say things that are bold and true that I don't like? Now, look, to be fair, I understand any sort of criticism of liberal Zionism. I understand because fundamentally, I think it's a contradiction in terms. You can't be a liberal Zionist in the same way that you can't be a believer in a liberal apartheid South Africa. Apartheid by its very nature is conservative, is far right, is extremist. It's you can't say, oh, I want like a moderate ethno-state. No, ethno-states are extreme by definition. Because what you're doing is you're setting up a two-tiered system with the very nature of the country. Like, that's a two-tier system. You're saying Jewish Israelis are above anybody else. They have more rights than anybody else. And so I don't actually agree with Brad Lander in the sense that, like, I don't think liberal Zionism is a thing. I think ultimately he will become an anti-Zionist because you just need to believe in democracy for all. You can't have it democratic and Jewish in the same way you can't have it democratic and, Christian fundamentalist, for example. But I sympathize with him here either way, even though I don't agree with where he is, because the thing that Dana Bash is not able to digest is any of the factual criticisms of Israel here. You understand what I'm saying? Like, she just doesn't, she can't wrap her mind around. She's surrounded by people who love Israel, suck off Israel, pretend Israel has never done anything wrong. They think any criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic by definition, is a smear. And so now, like, an actual liberal Zionist sitting in front of her and explaining things, she is short-circuiting right in front of our eyes.
Why are you not just a Zionist? Why do you say liberal Zionist? What do you think the difference is?
I mean, the Declaration of Independence that founded Israel says it would be a place for the ingathering of exiles and full civil and political rights for everyone living there. But Palestinians living in the West Bank facing settler terrorism or living in refugee camps in Gaza because their schools and hospitals were destroyed, they don't have full political and civil rights. So it is not living up to its founding vision. And to me, believing in Jewish and democratic means you got to fight for the human rights of Palestinians at the same time as you fight for the safety of Jews. I guess maybe a shorthand way of saying it is, I don't think Israelis will be safe until Palestinians are free, and they both need that.
Can I just ask you point blank, do you not call yourself a Zionist because it is a term that many people on the hard left have started to use as a slur against Jews?
He literally does call himself a Zionist. She's not, like, none of this is clicking. He's like, I'm a liberal Zionist, and he explains in detail why his position is what it is. And she's like, Are you just catering to the far left and folding, and that's why you won't call yourself a Zionist, even though you call yourself a Zionist? I'm sorry, Dana Bash should be off TV. She has no business being on TV. Somebody who's this dense, somebody who's this obtuse, somebody who's this captured, it's completely and utterly unacceptable. She's just not doing her job. That's the thing you need to understand. It's not a matter of like, oh, she has a different opinion. No, she's just not doing her job right. This is failing as a journalist or a reporter or a commentator.
Do not call yourself a Zionist because it is a term that many people on the hard left have started to use as a slur against Jews?
Well, no, I mean, a liberal Zionist is a Zionist. I just want to make clear I'm not a Zionist like Ben Gvir or Smotrich who want to eliminate Palestinians. So that's why I say it.
You can be an American and not believe in what Donald Trump believes in.
To me, that's what I am here. I believe in the vision of a Jewish and democratic Israel, but it's got to change if it's going to be that.
Understand something. There is no example of the opposite of this, namely, really holding to task somebody who is a far-right Zionist and sort of breaking down their worldview and explaining in detail how this is genocidal and explaining how they're doing ethnic cleansing and the end logic of their project is similar to that of the Nazis trying to create an Aryan state. There is no, like, the repeated prodding questions, the refusal to accept the answer, the angry tone, the accusatory angle of saying, like, are you just caving to the far left? Like, that there is no example of that cuts in the other direction, where they hold, to a very high standard the genocidal, psychopathic terrorists or terrorist supporters who are cheerleading Israel 24/7. Like, virtually, the overwhelming majority of politicians in our system have, like, either passively or outright supported genocide and ethnic cleansing and starving people to death and all sorts of horrible war crimes. And they don't get 1/10 of the aggression against them, as Brad Lander just got here, for simply describing his position as a liberal Zionist in a reasonable way. And that should say something to you. That should say something. That's completely and utterly unacceptable. Like, this guy's getting more shit than fucking Netanyahu, who is, wanted for genocide by the ICC and the ICJ. That's insane. That's insane. But this is the world we live in. Up is down, down is up, right? Like, this is the world we live in. Everything is flipped and reversed. And, we're apparently the assholes for caring about human rights and caring about justice. It's incredible. It truly is incredible. To watch her brain shit the bed that thoroughly, and to watch her try to do the gotcha game, but she's too stupid to pull it off and isn't listening at all. Man, it's just hard to watch. Like, I don't know how anybody at CNN could look at this and go, oh yeah, she should remain on air. First of all, she has the charisma of a dirty diaper. Listening to her is like watching paint dry. She's never said an interesting thing in her entire life. That's point number one. Point number two is, it's all like fucking establishment groupthink. So, Israel good, Palestinians bad, no talk about genocide, why do you cave to the left? It's just a sick joke. By the way, when Trump started winning primaries, every major network started inviting on Trump supporters. Like, oh, you'll represent this new ideology that's, ascendant in the country. You look around the country now, you see another ascendant ideology. You see like Malat Kiros winning. You see Darya Liza winning. You see Zohran winning. You see Abdul on the brink of winning. You see all these democratic socialist left-wingers winning, and none of the major networks are going, oh, we really got to make sure to get DSA people on air or left-wingers on the air. No, and it's the same thing here. Forget allowing on air anti-Zionists, right? Like myself or like any of a number of commentators online. They even struggle allowing liberal Zionists into the conversation. Even liberal Zionists. I mean, that's insane to me. That is utterly ludicrous. So, we live in hell. We live in hell, and CNN is part of the fucking problem, which is why they have somebody like Dana Bash that's on the air for 78 hours a day, and also people like Scott Jennings, who is literally just a professional liar. He wakes up in the morning and goes, let me clock in at the lie factory. It's insane what we're witnessing.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
Now, I must admit, y'all, I did not know this man was still alive. There's a man by the name of Pastor Manning, and he's had a number of legendary rants over the years. He's one of these people that you listen to him and you go, he's got to be trolling, right? Like, he doesn't actually think the things here that he's saying. Like, this is all a bit. It's one long bit that he's done for decades of his life. But no, I think he means it. I think he's real. I think he's genuine and heartfelt, and he's actually this crazy. But he is this elderly black pastor who just had, I don't know what specific branch of Christianity he represents, but this guy is just out of his mind. By the way, he's debated Cenk Uygur in the past. I highly recommend you guys go check that out over at the Young Turks. Hilarious debate he had with Cenk and Anna, I believe, and they've covered some of his clips over the years. But here he is. I believe he's located in New York City, and he's ranting here against Zohran Mamdani and his wife. And what happens next is absolute magic. Here we go.
Any nigga who had the slightest inclination to vote for Mamdani, there's something wrong with you. You sick. Mamdani had a celebration down in City Hall of all the immigrants, all the Muslims, all the immigrants down there. No niggas. Here's a man that hates the Constitution and that which makes us Americans. He's a Muslim, for crying out loud.
Oh.
He's a jihadist.
Oh, no. Pastor Manning, no. First of all, accusing Zohran of hating the Constitution in the age of Trump is just the most psychopathic thing I've ever heard in my life. You have a president who every day finds a new creative way to destroy the Constitution and light it on fire, right? Whether it's all the ICE stuff, no due process, for example, no habeas corpus, no more warrants, all that stuff. The illegal wars. And he's saying Zohran's the one who violates the Constitution and calling him a jihadist. Oh my goodness. Just like, it's just like the most standard Islamophobic playbook shit you've ever seen. Like, oh, he's Muslim, therefore he's a jihadist. He was marching in the motherfucking Pride Parade as a mayor, bro. Is that something Al-Qaeda would do? Is that what they do? Wasn't the knock on the jihadists is like, not only do you want to spread your religion through violence, but also like, you throw gay people off of roofs and shit and you kill them. And here he is marching in the gay Pride Parade, and they're like, nope, still a jihadist. Well, what the fuck can you do to disprove it then? Oh, my days.
He's a jihadist at core. His wife is a lesbo-jihadist, Hamas supporter, intifada believer. Here you nigga talking about Mamdani gonna give us a free bus ride. Hell, it doesn't matter if they're handing out free sandwiches in hell, I ain't going. Nigga, are you crazy? You get a free bus ride. Don't get a free bus. Get your ass a job. Get a job, nigga. Go to work. Free bus ride. I always want something free. He's our boy. All you gotta say to get a nigga is say we got free food. And that nigga talking we have free grocery stores. You should have seen the niggas jumping up and down.
Oh my days. So he started with, oh, he's got no black people when he did this announcement for whatever. He had no black people around him. And now he's like, you know the problem? Black people love him too much. They were jumping up and down because they get free shit. And you know how those black people are. They love some free shit. Oh my God. This is as racist as fucking Bull Connor in the 1950s, bro. What are you doing, Pastor Manning? You can't... Okay, I know you're an elderly black man, but this is still some racist ass shit. This is the most racist shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, you know those black people, they love some free shit. They're lazy as a motherfucker. And it went from, oh, he's got no black people behind him supporting him to black people love him too much. Oh, my days. Oh, no, Pastor. Oh, no, Pastor.
Free. He's our boy. All you gotta say to get a nigga is say we got free food. And that nigga talking we have free grocery stores. You should have seen the niggas jumping up and down. Won't work, don't got a job, can't hold a job, ain't got no money, don't have no security. But Mamdani gonna give us a free food. Damn! I don't need you to give me no free food. I buy my own. There's something wrong with black folk. Now, this got Moses in trouble. You think I shopped him?
Who goes to this church? Who goes to this church and sits there in the front row and they nod? That's right, Pastor. You tell him. Like, what? Who's listening to this going, that's my guy right there. He said, lesbo-jihadist wife. He's got a lesbo-jihadist wife. What does that even mean? There's no such thing as a lesbo-jihadist. I mean, you can't be both those things simultaneously without immediately outing yourself and being public enemy number one of the jihadist group you're presumably a part of. I can't. Oh, my days. By the way, why are they crashing out? Why are they so pissed at Zohran? And why do they target him directly? Because Zohran is the fucking man, and he's actually delivered on his promises. By the way, the grocery store isn't free. It's a reduced price grocery store. And it's not like there's other states in the country that have done this, that have, like, it's public grocery stores. It's like relatively low cost food. There's not as much of a markup on the food. It's a fucking great idea, especially in like food deserts where there's no fresh food or healthy food. It's just like convenience stores that have Twinkies and shit like that and fucking Airheads. No, have a community-owned grocery store and people fucking love it. The food's not like literally free. It's just reduced priced. So that's one thing. The other thing is, bro, he's cracked down on shitty landlords. His approval rating has gone up since he's been in office. He got Hochul on board to do universal child care. Was successfully able to freeze the rent. He filled a record number of potholes. He's taxing the rich. He's done all these things. He's delivered on so many of his promises, and that's why the right is melting down, and they yell at him. By the way, I don't know if there's a single person on the right that knows how to say Mamdani. 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 Say it with me now. Zohran Mamdani. It's always like Mamdani or Madani, or what was it that Cuomo used to say? Cuomo, I don't think Cuomo pronounced his name right once. Mamdani. Like they would always fuck it up, either subtly or overtly. But like, how are we supposed to take your thoughts seriously on economic policy, or any policy for that matter, when you can't even bother to waste time to learn how to pronounce homie's name correctly, right? If your attention to detail is that poor, why should I give a fuck what your thoughts are on policy A, B, or C, right? I shouldn't. That's the bottom line. But anyway, Pastor Manning, back to his old tricks, making everybody laugh, but also at the same time, low-key being kind of like one of the most horrible people to ever exist ever. That's the show, man. I love y'all very much. You guys know the drill. Everybody subscribe to the channel. Click that bell icon. Support the show on Patreon. That link is below. Remember, y'all, I'm real independent media. Never talked to an advertiser. Never done an ad read. You guys support the show from the ground up. Thank you for all your support. Even if you just give $1 a month or $2 a month, that goes a very long way. We couldn't really do this show without you. I appreciate you guys. You can also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack, link below, and go subscribe to Corrin's World. No Corrin's World tonight, but we'll be back next week. Wish my boy a happy birthday on the 15th. It's 2 days away. All right, love you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Peace.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.